Saturday night main event had barely gone off the air before whispers started to swirl backstage. The kind of whispers that move fast and die hard. Security was shifting position. Cameras were being pulled from corridors. And certain doors, normally wide open for media, were suddenly locked without explanation. Something was happening behind the scenes. Something big, but no one expected it to involve Jacob Fatu and Tala Tonga. For weeks, the WWE Universe had watched as tension slowly seeped into the veins of the bloodline. While Solo Sikoa tightened his grip over SmackDown, forging alliances with Tanga Loa and Jeff Cobb, Jacob Fatu had been walking a different line. A silent enforcer, loyal to the family but unshaken by the shifting sands. Until tonight, everything changed. It started with what looked like a celebration. Solo Sikoa had just retained control over the blue brand, decimating Sami Zayn and cutting a scathing promo on anyone daring to oppose the new era of the bloodline. The locker room was tense. Divided. But what no one saw coming was the arrival of Tala Tonga, the long-absent brother of Tama Tonga. Emerging from the shadows, Tala wasn't even supposed to be in the building. Word spread fast. Paul Heyman had reportedly been caught off guard. Security scrambled. Backstage agents made quiet calls. But within 15 minutes, Tala Tonga had bypassed protocols and was spotted entering the locker room corridor where Jacob Fatu was preparing to leave. The footage hasn't been released. It likely never will be, but what we do have are eyewitness accounts, and they paint a chilling picture. One WWE staff member, who requested anonymity, described the moment in a single word: volcanic. Jacob Fatu had just wrapped up a post-match interview when the doors to the hallway cracked open. Standing on the other side, arms folded, eyes locked, was Tala Tonga. No words. No warning. Just a presence. Thick. Heavy. Intimidating. Another staffer said it felt like watching two apex predators recognize each other for the first time. Nobody spoke, they said. You could hear people breathing. Then Tala just walked forward. According to that source, Jacob didn't move. Didn't flinch. He just stared him down. And then, finally, Tala spoke. You let my brother fall. That was it. One sentence. Enough to light a powder keg. Jacob's jaw tightened. No fists were thrown, not yet. But what happened next wasn't just a confrontation. It was an indictment. A challenge. A line drawn in blood. Tala reportedly accused Jacob of standing idle while Solo Sikoa tore the bloodline apart from within. He said that Tama Tonga, his brother, was set up to fail, betrayed by family politics and left alone in a war he couldn't win. And he pinned that betrayal on Jacob Fatu's silence. You call yourself the enforcer, Tala spat. But you didn't enforce anything. You stood there and watched him fall. Jacob didn't yell. He didn't argue. He just stepped forward, face to face, inches away. I watched my brother die too, Jacob said, voice low, almost shaking. You don't know the things I've seen. The things I've done, for this family. The hallway reportedly went still. A few crew members backed away, sensing something they weren't supposed to witness. According to those in the room, Paul Heyman arrived just seconds later, accompanied by security. His face, pale and wide-eyed, told the whole story. He knew this wasn't just a personal grudge. This was the cracking of a foundation, because Tala Tonga wasn't just there to vent. He was there to issue a warning. Multiple sources confirmed that before leaving, Tala told Jacob, "You're either with me, or you're next." And then he was gone. What happened in the minutes after is unclear. WWE has not released any official footage or statements. When asked for comment, WWE spokespeople only offered a vague remark: backstage interactions are considered internal matters unless they impact broadcast safety. But let's not pretend this didn't shake the entire company to its core, because this wasn't just about Jacob Fatu and Tala Tonga. This was about the family war no one wants to name, the bloodline civil war. And tonight, it officially entered a new, terrifying chapter. Earlier this year, Solo Sikoa took control of SmackDown, wielding his power with merciless precision. Backed by Tanga Loa, Jeff Cobb, and even the monstrous Hikuleo, he declared his version of the bloodline as the new regime. Ruthless. Absolute. Loyal only to him, but not everyone bowed. Jacob Fatu, once viewed as Solo's greatest weapon, began to pull back. Quietly. Subtly. He stopped interfering in attacks. He left the ring early. And 2 weeks ago, during a post-match beatdown on Kevin Owens, Jacob simply walked away. That was the moment people began to question where his loyalties truly lay. Now, after tonight, we may have our answer, because Tala Tonga's appearance wasn't random. Sources inside WWE confirm he hadn't been booked. No flight. No hotel reservation. Nothing in the schedule. He wasn't on any internal documentation. He showed up unannounced, and yet, he was let in. One producer hinted that Tala may have had help from someone on the inside. Someone who wanted this confrontation to happen. And while no names were confirmed, many now suspect Jacob himself extended the invitation, which raises one chilling possibility. Has Jacob Fatu already made his choice? If so, that means we are heading for an all-out civil war, not just of ideologies, but of blood. The WWE locker room is reportedly shaken. Several superstars, speaking off the record, said the atmosphere has become increasingly volatile since Solo declared dominance over the bloodline. One veteran wrestler reportedly told friends, "It's like waiting for the volcano to blow. Everyone knows it's coming. And the fallout could be catastrophic, because we're not just talking about a split, we're talking about a war between 2 generations of the Anoa'i dynasty, between those loyal to Roman Reigns' vision of honor, and those backing Solo Sikoa's rule by fear era, and caught between them." Jacob Fatu, the man known for unleashing carnage in the ring, is now facing a moral crossroads behind the curtain. His silence has always been his strength. But tonight, his silence cracked. One source close to WWE Creative revealed that Jacob's storyline was rewritten minutes before the show began. Segments were pulled. A planned in-ring face-off with Heyman was cancelled. And Tala's surprise appearance wasn't approved until moments before it happened. This wasn't a calculated storyline. This was live ammunition, and now, fans are left with questions no one can fully answer. Will Jacob turn on Solo and realign with the Tongan side of the family? Was Tala Tonga sent by someone else, perhaps even Roman Reigns himself, to light the fuse? Is this the beginning of a Tongan revolution inside WWE? One thing's for sure, the cracks in the bloodline are no longer whispers. They're earthquakes, and Saturday Night Main Event may have just become the epicenter of a full-blown war. As of this moment, Roman Reigns remains silent. He hasn't been seen publicly in over 3 weeks. His last statement was a cryptic Instagram story, "When wolves turn on each other, the lion waits." But sources say Roman is watching closely. One WWE producer noted that Reigns has been in constant communication with Paul Heyman, reviewing footage and instructing certain segments to be archived privately. Privately, not for WWE Network. Not for Peacock. For him. That alone tells us everything. Roman's not done. He's just waiting for the right moment to return, and if tonight's events push Jacob toward Tala, it could be sooner than anyone expected, because if Jacob Fatu turns his back on Solo Sikoa, there may be only one man left powerful enough to stop Solo's reign of chaos, and he's the man Tala Tonga fears most, Roman Reigns. The confrontation between Jacob Fatu and Tala Tonga wasn't just a clash of tempers, it was a seismic tremor rumbling deep beneath the already fractured ground of the bloodline. And as the dust settled backstage at Saturday Night Main Event, WWE officials, talent, and even rival factions began to realize that this wasn't an isolated explosion. This was the first shot of a family war. In the hours following the event, chaos quietly took root. Paul Heyman was seen leaving the arena in a black SUV with tinted windows, refusing to speak to media. When pressed by WWE's own digital team, he offered nothing but a glare and a muttered, "This is far from over." Sources say Heyman immediately made calls to both Stamford headquarters and Roman Reigns' private camp, calls that reportedly went unanswered, and that silence might be the most telling clue of all, because if Roman Reigns is choosing to stay quiet, it means he's watching this war from above. Calculating. Waiting. And letting his former kingdom burn just long enough to see who survives the fire. Meanwhile, Jacob Fatu was escorted from the venue under private security. No post-show interviews. No locker room return. WWE's backstage operations placed him in an off-site hotel, citing talent safety concerns. But Tala Tonga, he vanished. No hotel booking. No production transport. Not even a return flight listed. One unnamed source in security described it bluntly: he walked in like a ghost, and disappeared just the same. But ghosts don't show up without a reason. And this ghost was carrying a message straight from the forgotten side of the bloodline. Tala's arrival wasn't about rebellion. It was about revenge. His brother, Tama Tonga, once poised to be Solo Sikoa's greatest ally, was unceremoniously taken out, left bloodied in a parking lot attack weeks ago. The culprit was never revealed. But fans began to speculate that it wasn't a random ambush, it was a sanctioned execution. Now, with Tala Tonga stepping into the shadows of that betrayal, the message is clear: the Tongans haven't forgotten. And they won't forgive. But there's one twist no one saw coming, because according to sources close to creative, Tala may not be alone. Reports have surfaced that Hikuleo, the silent giant who has been working closely with Solo, has gone dark. He missed 2 scheduled live events. He hasn't been seen in media appearances. His social media has gone quiet, and now rumors are swirling that Hikuleo has switched sides. One WWE insider claims to have overheard a production agent say he's going home. He's going with Tala. If that's true, then Solo Sikoa may be more vulnerable than he realizes, because losing Hikuleo isn't just losing a bodyguard, it's losing the final wall between him and the wrath of his own bloodline. Let's talk about the emotional weight pressing down on Jacob Fatu. This isn't a man who seeks chaos. Jacob has always been the enforcer, the hammer of the bloodline. But not the strategist. Not the manipulator. He's never cared for politics, only family, and now, that very family is forcing him to choose. His silence during Tama Tonga's fall was never about loyalty to Solo, it was about confusion. Conflict. Jacob believed that by staying out of it, he was keeping the family from splintering further. But tonight, Tala made it clear: silence is betrayal. And that moment, those 5 words, may have broken Jacob's will to remain neutral. In a leaked voice message shared by an anonymous locker room source, Jacob was reportedly heard telling another superstar, "I ain't standing still no more. I buried too many brothers already." That single line has ignited the WWE universe. #Team Fatu is now trending worldwide, with fans urging Jacob to take a stand and end Solo's reign of fear. The bloodline, once united under Roman Reigns' tribal authority, now appears more divided than ever, split into 3 dangerous factions: Solo's regime, fueled by violence, backed by Tanga Loa and Jeff Cobb; Tala Tonga's resistance, hidden in the shadows, fueled by vengeance and family pain; the lost shield-bearer, Jacob Fatu, torn between his duty and his conscience, now the most dangerous wildcard in WWE. And somewhere in the distance, Roman Reigns watches. Silent. Stoic. A lion waiting to reclaim his jungle. Back at WWE headquarters, the fallout is sending shockwaves through the upper office. Vince McMahon may be gone, but the empire he built is now staring down its own collapse. According to production meetings held just one day after Saturday Night Main Event, officials are already preparing for a massive storyline escalation, one that could play out over the course of the next 3 months. Sources confirm that WWE has begun drafting an emergency creative plan titled Bloodline Breakdown, which would culminate in a faction-wide collision at Survivor Series. The proposal? A triple faction war. Solo's army versus Tala's Tongans versus Jacob's reclaimed bloodline. But there's one variable even WWE can't control: Roman Reigns. Insiders say Reigns was presented with a full script to return next month. He rejected it. Instead, he reportedly told TripleH, "I'll return when one of them bleeds for me." That ominous statement has been interpreted in many ways. Some believe it means Reigns will only step in once true sacrifice has been made. Others believe he's waiting for a funeral. Not a match either way. It's no longer about championships. It's about legacy. And legacy only survives if it's earned in blood. Back on the ground, chaos is brewing. Superstars like Jey Uso and Kevin Owens are reportedly trying to stay neutral, refusing to involve themselves in the growing divide. But that neutrality may not be safe for long because bloodlines don't forget. And they don't forgive neutrality. One backstage interviewer described the atmosphere as a pressure cooker with no release valve. The locker room is fractured. The tribal councils have fallen silent. Paul Heyman, once the mouthpiece of order, is now whispering to shadows, and Jacob Fatu, he's no longer walking with his head down. Tonight, he was spotted entering the WWE Performance Center. Alone. Focused. Not for a match. Not for media, for training, because whatever choice he's about to make, he knows it must be backed by force. But there's one question still echoing in every hallway, every locker room, every WWE boardroom. Who really sent Tala Tonga? Was he acting alone? Was he driven by grief, or by command, or did someone higher up, someone once at the head of the table, call him in to clean house? One anonymous producer hinted that Reigns has a Plan Omega filed in WWE's creative documents, a final contingency that could reset the family feud in a single night. What does it involve? We don't know, but here's what we do know. Jacob Fatu has now been forced to confront his demons. Tala Tonga has made his presence, and his mission, known Solo Sikoa, continues to reign like a tyrant, but his walls are starting to crumble, and somewhere in the shadows of all this chaos, Roman Reigns waits, because the bloodline was never built to last. It was built to test its own, and now, the ultimate test has begun. As the days passed after Saturday Night Main Event, what began as a silent confrontation began to unfold into something much louder, a full-scale fracture in the foundation of the bloodline. And it all centered around Jacob Fatu. His presence was once untouchable. His reputation? Ruthless. Relentless. Loyal. But now, WWE insiders say the man who once tore through NXT and SmackDown with savage authority is becoming the biggest threat to everyone, because he's no longer answering to anyone, not Solo, not Heyman, not even Roman Reigns, and that terrifies the entire WWE hierarchy because Jacob Fatu, without chains, without a side, is a weapon with no safety switch. On Monday afternoon, just 48 hours after the backstage blow-up with Tala Tonga, a mysterious package was delivered to WWE Stamford headquarters. No return label. No postage. Just a black envelope sealed in wax. Inside, a photo. Jacob Fatu standing alone in front of a Samoan War Memorial in San Francisco. Carved into the stone behind him, the names of former Anoa'i warriors, including Umaga, Yokozuna, and Sika, written on the back of the photo in red ink. They bled for this name. I won't let it die like this. The message was clear. The time for hiding was over. Jacob Fatu wasn't going to choose between Solo and Tala. He was going to rewrite the family war on his terms. Meanwhile, Solo Sikoa is spiraling. Sources close to WWE's internal production report that Solo demanded a closed-door meeting with Paul Heyman the morning after Tala's appearance. The meeting reportedly lasted over 2 hours, and when Heyman emerged, he looked defeated. One backstage cameraman overheard Heyman muttering to himself, "We lost him, he's gone." No one knows if he meant Jacob or Roman, because Solo's empire, once held together by fear, is beginning to crack. His alliance with Jeff Cobb and Tanga Loa is growing thinner by the day. Cobb has stopped attending creative meetings. Loa recently turned down a planned run-in segment. Something is unraveling, and deep down, Solo knows that Tala's arrival wasn't just a provocation. It was a challenge to Solo's authority, and Jacob's silence since then? That silence is roaring. One insider said Solo has requested direct confrontation with Jacob Fatu to resolve the matter man-to-man, but Jacob declined. He won't fight Solo on Solo's terms. He'll do it when the family is watching. All of them. Now let's talk about Tala Tonga. After vanishing from the arena, Tala resurfaced briefly on Tuesday night, at a private gym in Anaheim. He wasn't alone. WWE security detail picked up footage of Zilla Fatu training in the same facility. Zilla, Jacob's cousin. Son of Umaga. The same man who recently walked silently alongside Jacob backstage at SmackDown without saying a word. Now he's training with Tala. This can't be a coincidence. If Zilla Fatu joins forces with Tala Tonga, it signals the formation of a new arm of the dynasty, one forged not in loyalty to Reigns or Solo, but to vengeance, vengeance for Tama, vengeance for Umaga, vengeance for everything Solo Sikoa erased. And the scariest part? They aren't saying anything. They're letting their actions speak. Just like Jacob. This new era of bloodline warfare isn't built on catchphrases. It's built on cold, calculated silence. And silence, when fueled by betrayal, is far more dangerous than rage. Behind the scenes, TripleH is reportedly working overtime to control the narrative. According to internal memos, several planned segments for Raw and SmackDown were scrapped at the last minute. One of them? A video package highlighting the Bloodline's legacy, it was pulled just minutes before airing. Why? Because the Bloodline's legacy is now in question. Is Solo the rightful heir to Roman's throne? Or is he just an opportunist riding the coattails of fallen kings? Is Tala a rogue soldier? Or is he the real enforcer, stepping in where the others failed? And Jacob Fatu, is he the hammer of judgment, here to reset the balance and restore honor to the family name? These are the questions keeping WWE's creative team up at night, and the answers may arrive sooner than anyone expected. This Friday on SmackDown, Jacob Fatu has been booked for a live segment. Alone.no, Heyman.no, Solo.no, Bloodline banners behind him. The working title? The Reckoning. WWE insiders say the promo will be entirely unscripted. Jacob refused a teleprompter. He refused to rehearse. He told producers, quote, "They'll hear me when I speak. I don't need a script to tell the truth." This is unprecedented for WWE to hand the mic to a man whose loyalties are unclear, in front of a live national audience, during the most unstable era of the company's top faction. It's either a brilliant risk, or a disaster waiting to happen. Either way, the WWE Universe will be watching, because if Jacob Fatu breaks his silence live on SmackDown, it could ignite the next chapter of the Bloodline War. And yet, still, the shadow of Roman Reigns looms. Roman hasn't posted. He hasn't called in. He hasn't spoken to Heyman, at least not directly. But one of his most trusted allies, a former Bloodline member who left quietly in 2023, posted a cryptic tweet late last night. The tribal chief doesn't chase chaos. He lets chaos find him. Many believe that tweet came from Jimmy USO, currently inactive but still deeply connected to the family behind the scenes. Some fans are speculating that Roman has already chosen a side, and others believe Roman is preparing to return with his own army, a new shield of loyalty, forged in fire, ready to bring order back to a war-torn family. But one thing is certain, he's watching. Because this war isn't about titles anymore, it's about blood, and when blood turns against itself, there are no winners. Only survivors. The question now is simple: who will survive? Will Jacob Fatu stand tall as the last true warrior of a broken empire? Will Tala Tonga rise as the avenger of his fallen brother, burning Solo's regime to the ground? Will Zilla Fatu, the silent storm, be the wild card that tips the balance? Or will Solo Sikoa, the self-proclaimed new tribal chief, tighten his grip and crush the rebellion before it takes shape? And when it's all over, when the dust settles, will Roman Reigns return to claim what's left, or will he walk into the ruins of a legacy he can no longer control? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear: the bloodline is broken, the reckoning has begun. And the war is far from over. As the WWE Universe braces itself for Jacob Fatu's live appearance on SmackDown, the walls behind the curtain are tightening. Backstage, there's a growing sense of panic, a quiet, anxious energy pulsing through every corner of WWE headquarters and locker rooms across the country. Because this isn't just another promo. This is the ticking time bomb of a man who's been silent for too long, now ready to speak on his terms. And that's what scares WWE leadership the most, because Jacob Fatu doesn't talk unless he means it. And when he does, he doesn't play by the rules. Production crews are on edge. Sources say they've been instructed to have delay switches ready, just in case Fatu veers off script. Not that there's a script to begin with. According to one high-level staff member, there's no controlling him anymore. He's not a heel. He's not a babyface. He's not even a tweener. He's just wild now. And in that wildness lies danger. Not just to Solo. Not just to Tala. But to everyone in the ring. In the lead up to Friday, Solo Sikoa has gone uncharacteristically silent. No backstage attacks. No promo packages. No surprise appearances, and that's made people even more nervous because Solo isn't retreating. He's loading his weapons. We've learned that behind closed doors, Solo has met multiple times with Jeff Cobb and Tanga Loa, restructuring his circle of power. His message has been consistent: we don't react. We strike first. But the problem is, they already missed their chance. Because Tonga struck first. Not with fists, but with something more dangerous, the truth. Tala didn't sneak in to start a fight. He came to reveal one. And in doing so, he planted a seed of doubt inside Jacob Fatu that now threatens to uproot the entire bloodline structure. Let's not forget where this started. The original bloodline wasn't built on brute force. It was built on something deeper: respect, tradition, order. Roman Reigns enforced those values with an iron fist, yes, but he did so with a code. You bled for family. You stood beside your blood. You didn't cross the line, you protected it. But Solo Sikoa threw that legacy into a furnace. He hijacked the family name and turned it into a dictatorship. Tonga questioned that authority, and he paid for it, with betrayal, with a beating, and with silence. Tonga has now answered that betrayal. But it's Jacob Fatu who holds the power to decide what comes next, because make no mistake, both sides want him. Solo Sikoa sees Jacob as the only force left strong enough to hold his crumbling regime together. Tala sees him as the brother he never had, a fellow warrior who could help him bring the entire empire crashing down, and now Jacob stands between them, carrying the weight of history on his shoulders. Let's talk about Zilla Fatu. His recent alignment with Tala has sent shockwaves through the WWE locker room. Not because Zilla is the biggest or loudest, but because he represents a new era of this family. One not bound by Reigns' code or Solo's fear. Zilla isn't fighting for control. He's fighting for restoration, the son of Umaga. The cousin of the Usos. The product of a lineage soaked in pain, legacy, and sacrifice. And now? He's choosing sides. His presence alongside Tonga, without saying a single word, speaks volumes, because Zilla's silence is strategic. It's haunting. It's deliberate, and it suggests that the new bloodline isn't just rising. It's remembering what was lost, remembering who died to build the name, remembering what Solo desecrated. Back in Stamford, WWE executives are in full-blown crisis mode. Creative plans have been rewritten 3 times this week. Merchandise promotions tied to the bloodline have been paused. A rumored pay-per-view poster featuring Solo Sikoa as the chief was quietly pulled from all digital storefronts. Why? Because the crown is cracking. A silent power struggle has become a raging family fire, and the company doesn't know who to bet on. TripleH, now fully in control of creative, is said to be protecting Jacob at all costs, believing he may be the only one who can restore order, or at least lead the WWE into a new era of authenticity. But others believe Jacob can't be trusted. That once he breaks his silence, the floodgates will open and expose everything, even Roman, yes, even him, because while Roman Reigns remains silent, his absence has become louder than any promo. It's a vacuum. A void. A reminder that the